All right, and we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superhero Cuts podcast, where we talk all things DC, Marvel, and Star Wars. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post. But by the way, guys, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Do not forget to follow us on there so you can listen to the audio. Because look, when you're at work, when you're at the gym, when you're jogging, you don't have to just play us on YouTube. We are on the podcast sites as well. So search us up and give us a listen, man.
And you could listen in the car. I listen to podcasts in the car every day, especially since rap went down the drain. It's hard to find good new music. So I just listen to podcasts. I even know people who listen to podcasts at 1.5 or 2x speeds so they can get more podcasts in. But I'm not recommending you do that with ours because you should want to hear our immaculate delivery on every word.
Exactly. So we are here. Also, just want to plug in our Action Cuts channel where we are about to start uploading on there, and the Fantasy Cuts. I'll be covering Percy Jackson this Saturday as we are approaching the last episode next week. So we are super excited.
Halo. Because Halo, I am going to be covering on Action Cuts.
Let's go. And by the way, the logos for Action Cuts will be coming out as well, and we're really going to do a fun rollout for that with merchandise and all that stuff. All right. And by the way, we are almost at 1,000, so please subscribe. All right. So let's get right into this. So there was a lot of topics, I guess, that were coming out throughout the weeks. But I really want to talk about this one right here. I think this is really important for us because there is a rumor, but I want to talk about it. I want to read the exact wording. So it says this: Kevin Feige and Tom Holland reportedly want Spider-Man 4 to be more grounded. Sony reportedly wants the film to be huge, and they are considering bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. My brother, how do you feel about it, and which plot would you want to see out of the two options?
Listen, it is. I'm so disappointed that they're doing it. And I love Tobey and Andrew. Like, I grew up on Tobey. I can't say I grew up on Andrew, but I always loved the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So this is from someone who is a big fan of both. But here's the thing. This, it worked in No Way Home. It worked across the board. It worked because it worked for the story, which should always be the number one priority. It worked for getting the movie hyped, selling tickets, and it just became an iconic movie because this whole retro cameo thing is now something that a lot of movies are trying to replicate, but No Way Home is the OG. They did it right. They didn't do it in a cheap way, and it didn't feel like a gimmick from that movie because, like I said, the priority was it served the plot. But there's a lot of things wrong with this because you can't. First of all, how do you do it again after No Way Home? Like, you're gonna, no matter what, you're gonna throw dirt on the legacy of that movie. But more importantly, a lot of people complained about the Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man movies, and they call him Iron Boy Jr. and things to that effect. Now, we finally have a Spider-Man in the MCU, and nobody knows his secret identity. And secret identity is a theme that has never really been in the MCU. There's a famous clip of James Gunn saying, that that's something that the MCU never wanted to deal with. And maybe that's still the case. I don't know. But with Spider-Man, that's a big part of Spider-Man. And to have a grounded Spider-Man movie, a secret identity is a big part of that. Because a grounded Spider-Man movie means Spider-Man not working with other Marvel characters. Maybe Daredevil on a grounded street level, and that could work. But when I thought about Spider-Man 4, I kind of felt that we were going to get more grounded Spider-Man take. Not as grounded as the Tobey Spider-Mans. I know a lot of people want that, and they think that's what we're talking about here. I don't think we'll ever get a Marvel movie that grounded again. The MCU is a spectacle franchise, and that's just not what those Spider-Man movies were, even though they had some spectacle, not to the effect of the MCU. I think that Marvel should take Spider-Man 4 in a very different direction. And if you're going to bring Tobey and Andrew into it, right away, it changes. It's just completely different than what I think they need to do with Spider-Man 4.
Bro, I 100% agree because I mean, to me, it's like, what's the point of bringing them back, right? The reason why they came back was to help, Peter Parker, get through something that was like a pretty, like, almost unbeatable situation for him, right? There was a reason why they came into this movie, and honestly, you're killing the nostalgia when you want to bring them back again. Because I mean, to be real, whatever he's dealing with now, there's not a big enough reason for them to come back unless if like you're doing a Spider-Verse connection or something, which I think people would like. But also, you got to think about this. Tobey Maguire is rumored to be in Deadpool, which I think seeing Tobey Maguire in Deadpool will be more exciting than seeing him with Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield because of the fact that the Deadpool is basically going back in time and he's going to the Fantastic Four, he's going to Spider-Man, and he's going and Deadpool 3 is kind of like a homage to all of the old Marvel films that we grew up with. But with Spider-Man 4, they rebooted him. Spider-Man's a rebooted character. And they gave the fans what they wanted. Everyone wanted a proper Spider-Man, and Kevin Feige has given us that. So why now all of a sudden? And look, Sony does not have a good track record at all with this stuff, right? We all know Sony has done a lot of movies already. Look at Madam Web. And apparently the Web of Life is being connected to this, and we're going to see some Spider-Verse connections in Madam Web. So Sony has never had a good track record of being good.
That's not fair altogether. So you got, and I come from the angle of putting some respect on Sony's name. Listen, Sony has delivered a large number of amazing Spider-Man movies. There is not a bad Spider-Man movie, okay? I mean, you can make the argument that Spider-Man 2 is the worst one. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst one. But even that is a decent movie. Now, I think, first of all, and you brought something up really important, which I almost missed. They need to save the next big stunt movie like this for when they cross Miles over into the MCU. That should be the next big spectacle Spider-Man movie. And I'm not, and if they want to make a big spectacle Spider-Man movie before that, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. But in terms of crossing universes, I don't think that that's something you play out because, listen, Miles Morales is already, a haymaker of a character. There was so much success around that character. And you already know when the MCU brings him in, it's going to be a big deal. And they should be saving the next multiversal Spider-Man movie for that. Maybe not spectacle, but multiversal for sure.
To be real, bro, but the wild thing is that the TASM movies weren't loved until like 10 to 12 years after, it feels like. I mean, and
I liked them when they came out. I did not. I was not the biggest fan of the TASM movies, and I was a lot of people on that side of not liking it, which is one of the reasons why when we saw Spider-Man and Civil War, I was one of the people that championed it. Then, Spider-Man Homecoming came out, and I was simping over Spider-Man. So me personally, bro, I just think that I don't really think Sony's had a really good track record at all, and I think that they've done more bad things to the Spider-Man lore than they have good, and I think Marvel has done more than what they've ever done with Spider-Man. And people come at the Iron Boy Jr., but putting Tom Holland Spider-Man with Tony Stark's Iron Man was the greatest decision in movie history in regards to the MCU. So the way that I feel is that I just feel like we rebooted Spider-Man, so why would you want to bring them back again? And it's going to kill that that love, I guess, that was built in the last film. And plus at this point, comic cuts, after reading Devil's Reign, I'm so sold on that story now that's what I want in Spider-Man 3. Like I don't need, bro. I really don't need this Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I'm cool with like Daredevil and Kingpin and characters like that, and Spider-Man focusing on building out that side of the MCU. And when we need him for the multiverse, he will be there. Yeah. Speaking of Devil's Reign, and I know, he's now working with DC also, and he's writing Batman, but Avengers Twilight came out last week, and that's also Chip Zdarsky. So he's still working with Marvel, and I think that needs to be the guy in the room for that. If they bring in Dan Slott, I'll lose my shit. Sorry, I know I'm trying not to curse as much on the show anymore, but like Dan Slott needs to be as far away from the MCU as possible. And listen, I do think that they need to be careful with this movie, okay? Because this is a whole new world for Spider-Man. You know, now Spider-Man is the secret identity, like I was saying. Spider-Man's poor. Spider-Man doesn't have the Avenger friends to call in when he needs help, like he called in Iron Man and Doctor Strange. And you know, I didn't call Nick Fury, but you get the point. So this is going to be a very different type of movie. And I want to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man in that kind of Spider-Man movie. And I think a lot of people do. And, you know, if they keep doing things like this, you're never going to have like the kind of movie that you should have as a Spider-Man movie. And that's what's crazy to me, you know, and I don't like the Iron Boy Jr. name. I used it just because everyone knows what it is and what I'm talking about, but I never saw Spider-Man as Iron Boy Jr. I like that Iron Man was in Homecoming. I thought it was fitting, and you know, but you got to have him on his own feet at this point. And if he's going to work with anyone, it should be Daredevil.
Yeah, and his power level needs to go up as well. I do think that they've nerfed him down. I'm not going to hold you, so I would love to see a Spider-Man a little more powerful than we've seen before. And not saying that, and I do think that the Spider-Man films have showcased his strength, but I do think Far From Home was a weak Spider-Man film, even though I love that movie. And No Way Home, I do love it, but I feel like the only time we really saw Spider-Man's strength was at the end when he like almost killed Green Goblin. So
because he went pretty savage when they were in the building right before they killed May. And yeah, they did kill May. Goblin killed May, but before Goblin killed May and Spider-Man was on the ground floor worrying about May.
Wasn't he getting cooked?
I think he started to get cooked, but he was throwing some pretty big punches.
I definitely think he's the most.
When he was, I definitely think he's the most powerful Spider-Man. You think he's a nerfed Spider-Man? Was that what we said?
No. I said I definitely think Tom Holland Spider-Man is the most powerful Spider-Man out of the three.
I don't know about that because Tobey held a train, bro.
I think Tom Holland could do that too.
Nah, Tom Holland failed on holding the ferry together, which was supposed to be that moment.
Bro, he took Thanos on, bro. I don't want to hear nothing.
He took Thanos on with a lot of help.
He held his own though. He did hold his own for a couple. Well, remember when we say magic with the kick, and then Thanos grabbed him by his neck and choke slammed him. Remember that?
Yeah.
I have to rewatch that, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I watch Infinity War all the time, but Spider-Man in the Tobey movies, like those movies, they made those villains feel like so powerful, and Tobey cooked them.
I don't know about cooked. Green Goblin almost took him out. If it wasn't for that backflip, Tobey would have been done for in that movie.
Yeah, but he hit the backflip.
I don't know, man. I think Tom's is the most powerful though. That's my theory. But all right, let's get some of these chats. Dragon Trainer, what's up? I'm not sure Tobey and Andrew will appear in Spider-Man 4. They could also with Ant-Man and Daredevil. I don't know. I have doubts. I don't think Ant-Man should be in this movie personally. Tobey and Andrew, yeah. Well, this is the rumor that's going around. Well, we know that Sony wants this to happen, so that's all we know so far. Haven't been up to date. Tobey and Andrew in Spider-Man 4. As we said, there's a big rumor going around that Sony wants them in there. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was underrated. Homecoming and Far From Home are overrated. I think Spider-Man Homecoming is a very underrated film. A lot of people don't give Spider-Man Homecoming the props that it deserves. Fire. That's a top 3 Spider-Man film. Just being honest. My favorite Spider-Man film, personally. My biggest problem with Homecoming and Far From Home is that I didn't like the fact that Spider-Man's iconic suit is made from Iron Man. Peter not having Mary Jane as his love interest. Uncle Ben is never mentioned. Well, to answer a couple of those things. Number one, the Spider-Man Homecoming suit to me is perfection. Just saying. Um, Mary not having Mary Jane as his love interest, and Uncle Ben never being mentioned. Look, bro, the MCU showed us in Spider-Man No Way Home that this is not the definitive Spider-Man. This is not the original Spider-Man story. This is a kind of like an ultimate Spider-Man, to be honest. This is a different Earth. So, things are different. Spider-Man's version of Uncle Ben dying was Aunt May dying. So,
By
and
the way,
yeah.
I was going to say, for those of you that don't know, Ultimate Spider-Man was an alternate Spider-Man that took place where Peter got his powers in high school and relived a lot of the iconic story arcs, but there were some alternate changes made considering the fact that he was in high school. So that's what Stevie means, because, the Spider-Man didn't get bitten in high school in the original comics, but in Ultimate Spider-Man he does, and that's the big change, and the MCU did that.
Exactly, which I think was the best take to go at the time, because you're coming off of TASM 2. A lot of people were thinking about, was TASM 3 happening, so it was a perfect situation for them to do that. Good evening, everyone. Been watching the channel for a few months. Glad to catch a live show. Hey, man, what's good, homie? What's good?
Thank you. Welcome to the comments section.
Facts. Welcome.
To our show. Glad you're enjoying it.
Shout out to Action Packed. Well, we do know Scorpion will be in Spider-Man 4, and I think Mr. Sinister 2, I think. Yeah, I did hear rumors about Scorpion. I didn't hear anything about Mr. Sinister, though, but I will take a look into that. Comic-Cuts, have you heard anything about Mr. Sinister being in Spider-Man 4?
No, but people are saying that he's supposed to be the next X-Men villain, so, I don't know it, and I don't like the idea of Scorpion for Spider-Man villain for Spider-Man 4.
He's not powerful enough.
Yeah, he's a boring villain. Like, listen, just because a villain is well known and has a good costume doesn't make him a great villain. Here's the problem nowadays. These movies have gotten so popular, and there are a lot of people that, and by the way, it's fine to not read comics, but there's a lot of people out there that don't read comics. They read things online, and then they act like they're a know-it-all, and you get people campaigning for whack villains like Mr. Freeze or Scorpion when they don't belong anywhere. Like, if I'm reading a comic and I see Mr. Freeze or Scorpion, I'm already annoyed. I'm already annoyed that they're in the, like, there should be a better villain here.
Yep. Bro, I knew, this is how I know you, Comic-Cuts, because I knew the Mr. Freeze trade was coming. I knew that, bro. I know you like the back of my hand now. All right. That's because after like a year and a month now of recording, I'm like, I know this dude. All right. Do you think Tobey and Andrew should show up? We both said no. We don't think they should show up. We think that will kind of kill what happened in the last film. We can't trust these Spider-Man 4 rumors because we've heard a lot of contradictory stuff. They said it would be a grounded adaptation of Devil's Reign, and also a multiverse film with Sony characters. Well, it seems like. Go ahead.
I was gonna, and by the way, the great point, Action Pack. Listen, Spider-Man 4 is so far away, and I'm pretty sure Tom Holland is relaxing, taking a break, which doesn't mean that they're not writing the script. They probably are working on the script, but Spider-Man is the most popular superhero. Okay, so when these corny pages on Twitter want engagement, I don't put it past them to make up Spider-Man 4 rumors. Okay, and I've seen a lot of pages that all they do is push bogus conspiracies about movies. They love talking Spider-Man 4, so be wary about that.
Agreed. Okay. Spidey can easily solo the Guardians, and the fact that Star-Lord managed to have him at gunpoint, MCU nerfs way too much. How does Iron Man put up a better fight against Thanos over Hulk? Spider-Man can solo the Guardians. That is true. Even though I think Gamora's taking out Spider-Man personally because Gamora is just a better fighter.
Drax too, by the way. I don't know about that. The Guardians are pretty stacked.
Spidey might take Drax though, but I don't think Spidey's taking
MCU Drax, but I'm not sure about comic Drax.
Yeah. And I just think Gamora is just OP. I ain't gonna lie. Like Gamora, like Guardians didn't really show us how powerful Gamora actually is. Like she in the comics, she is a savage. I mean, she's a dog. So yeah. Iron Man put up a better fight than Hulk was crazy. And the fact that we never got that payoff of the Hulk beating the crap out of Thanos still hurts me to this day. Okay, I think Tobey is the strongest live action Spider-Man because he stopped the train and he held up the side of the warehouse in the other Spider-Man 2. I disagree, but I see the point.
I like
Comic Cuts agrees. Rumors are rumors.
Action Pack, if you want to come on with us live, let us know. We'll throw you a link. That goes for anyone, but I would like to have you on Action Pack.
Yes, and Dragon Trader and Hungry Almighty, we already invited y'all before, but if y'all ever want to jump on, we will love the platform, y'all, man. Rumors are rumors. Some are true, some are not. Yep. Homecoming is my favorite Spider-Man movie because it's wholly unique and the most Spider-Man movie. Also, Ben was also mentioned in Civil War. Yes, he was. He was mentioned in Civil War, but Uncle Ben's death didn't transform him like Aunt May's did. Biggest difference between Ultimate Spidey versus MCU is that the Ultimate still kept class things like Uncle Ben. He made his own suit. Mary Jane is white redhead. In my opinion, I prefer you keep some basics. I personally didn't care about the MJ thing and all the other. Honestly, I'm totally cool with how the MCU has it, and it was good for the time that it was in. I think that the reboot was the perfect time to go the more traditional route.
I also like a lot of people get caught up on adaptations, checking some of the boxes, not checking some of the other ones. They're not direct adaptations, and one of the things that the MCU does really well is taking some inspiration from stories and then taking liberties. And as long as the characters, the more significant they are, the more comic accurate they need to be, as I discussed, I think, on our last episode, when I roasted Jay Oliva, the DC director. But listen, the MCU has done an amazing job of taking liberties from a lot of stories, and there's a number of reasons of why this is so great that they do it. My personal favorite is I read a lot of comics, so the MCU versions of the stories become new for me too. And the one example I always like to throw out on this one is, listen, in the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War comics, it wasn't who took out Thanos. It wasn't Iron Man who ended up taking out Thanos. It was Adam Warlock, who was featured in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the gold guy. He's a much bigger deal in the comics, great character. But it was cool what they did with Iron Man. Nobody complained, and they do that a lot with a lot of the stories. So not direct adaptations. They take some things from the comics and they change some things from the comics. And they've done a great job in doing it. They've built the most successful and expansive franchise of all time. And now the company that has much better characters is trying to chase up to them. So
you are correct. Oh, I meant Mr. Negative. Is that his name in the Spider-Man game? Yes, that is his name. I don't want him in Spider-Man 4. Mr. Freeze catching strays, LMAO. Yes, bro. If you've been here a while, Comic Cuts always throw shade at Mr. Freeze. Yo, you still got to do a video on that of why you don't.
I thought I did. I'll do one. Yeah.
Dang. What's his deal with? Look, Comic Cuts. Explain why. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Freeze is the most boring villain. Number one, here's the thing. There's a reason that you rarely see him in the comics. And that's because the guys that know how to make the good stories know that Mr. Freeze is a boring villain. He's a boring villain. He has one shtick, and that's that he wants to save his wife, Nora, And after Nora dies, he kind of wants to live in peace and do his own thing, and sometimes might help Batman because he's not really a villain. He was just mad, trying to save his wife. But ultimately, he's boring, and there are so many better Batman villains, and it's just like when you get to a Mr. Freeze story, it's not going to be a good one. And the other thing is if you ask anyone who tells you, and this is why I really can't stand him right now specifically, if you ask anyone who says Mr. Freeze should be the villain for the Batman Part 2, they all say the same thing. They say, well, there was a lot of water, and there's water all over Gotham, and what better villain? He could freeze the water. It's so stupid. Like, it's the dumbest reason I've ever heard. There's water, so we should have Mr. Freeze. Well, there's water, there's the penguin. You mix them, penguins like water. It's fucking stupid. And, there's so many better villains. The Batman has arguably the greatest rogues gallery of all the characters. So to mention an awesome Batman movie, and you're going to have the sequel of Mr. Freeze, like, people are stupid. But these are the same people who tell you that, oh, you know what? We should have the sequel to Black Panther without the Black Panther. And look how that turned out, okay? Oh, and I know I try not to curse, but I'm going to do a video on it, and I'm going to go more in depth on why Freeze sucks. So look out for that.
Yeah. I'm not on the Mr. Freeze train either, and you know this already. I just think he's just a useless character. Why don't you want him inspiring for? I just don't want to see a character that I've seen, Mr. Negative. I just don't want to see another rehash character from the games. I want a whole new character.
By the way, this also, Dragon Trader, sorry to say it, but this also is a stupid choice of a villain. The thing about, and listen, Mr. Negative actually is a great villain. He's an awesome villain. And he's relatively new, which, it usually takes characters a longer time to become as popular. I guess almost 20 years old at this point, but whatever. The reason why Mr. Negative is not a good choice for Spider-Man 4 isn't because he's a bad villain. It's because May was killed off. And the thing about Mr. Negative, Martin Lee, is I don't know if he owns it or he runs it, the Feast Center, but he's like behind the whole thing. So May obviously works at the Feast Center. And if you don't have May to impact the character dynamics between Peter and May, you're already losing out on maximizing, capitalizing on the story value that Mr. Negative has. So for that reason, I just think he's a waste of a villain at this point, and use someone better, because you're never going to be able to maximize the effect of Mr. Negative, because you need May to tell a proper Mr. Negative story.
Exactly. And look, he's great in the games. I'm not knocking that, but like, in my opinion,
he's great in the games. He's great in the comics. You
just get sick of these characters. Like you just don't like. I just don't want to see the same people being rehashed in the games and in the movies. Like there's other avenues you can go. Spider-Man and Batman has the biggest library of characters you can use. I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, you don't think a writer setting a DCU Batman movie with Mr. Freeze will look dope? Sorry, when Winter setting DCU Batman movie with Freeze will look dope. Also, keep in mind, general audiences may not know the story. Go ahead.
Right, and if they don't know the story of Mr. Freeze, they shouldn't be campaigning for him. And that's my point. Also, is like a lot of people that are making these demands of these companies of what to do with their movies on Twitter have no clue what they're talking about. I mean, and a lot of those same people are the ones that are convinced that Netflix is going to have a Snyderverse, which is also one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. But I think that, first of all, whoever did the cinematography on the Batman is going to cook no matter what. So Mr. Freeze or not, that movie is going to look amazing. I mean, there's no movie out there looks like the Batman. I mean, they must have invented so much camera trickery with that movie. It's insane. But there are so many good villains to choose from Batman. I really want the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls, I think, are the perfect villain for Pattinson. And listen, I think I'll take the Court of Owls with Batman the Brave and the Bold if I could get it. But the reason why the Batman and Robert Pattinson Batman specifically is so perfect for the Court of Owls is because the Batman is a take on Batman's detective side. And the Court of Owls, for those of you who don't know, are a secret society that has been controlling Gotham for like hundreds of years. And they're responsible for everything, including the murder of Batman's parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne. So I just think that the detective side, the history of Gotham and Batman, Bruce Wayne's family that they touched on in the Batman Part 1, I think the Court of Owls are the perfect villain for Part 2. And what's so crazy about the Court of Owls, and by the way, that's like the comic that got me into comic books. I didn't read comics, and a friend of mine at the time was like, you got to read this Batman Court of Owls thing. And I read it, and then I read like all 50 of issues of that series and fell in love. But the thing that's so crazy about Batman in the Court of Owls book is like he was shocked. At first he kind of hears something about the Court of Owls, and then he's like, nah, that can't be, because if they existed, I would know about it. And then when he does realize that the Court of Owls are real, he's shocked. And he's like, how the fuck did I not know who these people were? That's crazy. And Batman, Gotham, secret society. How much more do I need to sell this thing? It's like, I think the Court of Owls are a better villain than Joker.
I agree. Thank you. I agree. Yo, you just sold this. You just sold it to the whole fandom. You convinced me on Mr. Freeze. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini are really the ones to make him work, and they only did it once.
And by the way, those two names, if you don't know, are like two of the biggest Batman people of all time. So, of course, they could make it work, but they only did it one time, and that's true. And now, anyone who wants Mr. Freeze, they're like, well, the Batman the animated series episodes with Mr. Freeze were good. Okay, point to me one other time other than in the comics that you liked the Mr. Freeze story. Seriously.
Okay. He said, okay, I get it. I understand. Kind of prefer the Court of Owls for DCU Brave and the Bold because I want to see Batman and Robin fight dead super soldiers dressed as owl assassins. That is a fair take. But I personally want the Batman because it'll be way much darker. I would like a more fantastical villain with Brave and the Bold, personally.
Yeah.
I feel like when a villain gets their own movie, they don't act evil. They act more like an anti-hero or change to a hero. Like Venom, he's a hero, not a villain anymore. Exactly. 100%. And that's why I think the Joker movie is the worst thing of all time. Because he's gonna end up being a hero and y'all gonna laugh, but it's true. If Mr. Freeze gets his own movie, he'll act heroic. You're all right. Because that's what they love to do. All right. Next topic. Jeff Loveness is fired from Kang Dynasty. Now, if you don't know who Jeff Loveness was, he was the writer for Ant-Man Quantumania. He was going to be writing both Avengers movies. Him and Michael Waldron. And so
he hates him as much as I hate Mr. Freeze.
Oh yeah, this guy, Jeff Loveness, man. Oh no, Zachary Levi. No, I hate Zachary Levi.
Yes,
yeah, that's my mortal enemy right there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand that guy. But anyways, so Jeff Loveness's plan for Avengers: The Kang Dynasty was reportedly to gather all leads of the multiverse saga except Thor to fight against Kang variants on Earth. The film would have felt relatively grounded and not involve many multiversal elements. Okay. So that was Jeff Loveness's apparent plot for Avengers Kang Dynasty. And so he is fired and he is gone. And apparently, most of the reason why he was going is because of Ant-Man Quantum Mania. And the rumor that has been going around is that Michael Waldron, the guy who wrote for Loki, is most likely going to be the guy to write for the movie. Now, I just want to say this. I think that no one's going to write Kang better than Jeff Loveness. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I can't stand Jeff Loveness, the way that he wrote Kang was also amazing. But the second best guy you need to write Kang is Michael Waldron, because he wrote Kang in the Loki show. So I think that this is a great decision. Plus, also, I'm not the biggest fan of leaving Thor out of Avengers Kang Dynasty, because you're trying to copy what they did in freaking Infinity War, where you kind of leave Thor away from the Avengers until the end. And I really don't like that, because at the end of the day, right now, the roster isn't powerful, and you need every power player to make things work. So you need Doctor Strange, you need Captain Marvel, you need Scarlet Witch, you need Thor. Those are your most powerful people, and if we're getting Rune King Thor, like they're saying, he's going to be needed in this battle against the Kings. But I do have some Kang news about a couple of things. First thing is this, and Comic Cuts, I will let you go. First thing is, with Kang the Conqueror, they are searching for a recast for Kang, and apparently in the next few months we will get an answer to who that is. But the second thing is that they are considering not of making the enemy not all Kang variants, but taking villains from using some of the villains from the past Marvel films to join Kang as like his multiversal villain team. So I heard that idea is being shopped around, and I think that's more because of fear of what happened with Jonathan Majors and kind of him maybe like ruining the whole ship. I think that's more out of that fear. But so yeah, those are the things that are going on. So Comic, how do you feel about all that?
To do Thor properly, and they'll never do it, but they should make the next Thor movie a Savage Thor in an R-rated movie. They need to bring Thor and R-rated. Make him so hard ass. Yeah,
they don't gotta be R-rated.
No, but you get what I'm saying. And well, if it doesn't have to be R-rated, then they can pull it off. They'll never.
You're talking like a John Wick style, like you're like talking like John Wick type.
Yeah. The reason they need to make Thor so savage is they need him to redeem himself from Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder, which is, I was going to say by far the worst MCU movie, but it's not by far. It is the worst MCU movie, but the Marvels is very close. That movie is bad. And the other thing, though, when I was looking at the docket and the Kang piece, here's the thing. They're saying now that Kang is going to return, but we won't hear casting news for a long time. Which to me, this is my perspective on that piece, is that great. We all want Kang to come back. Well, not everyone does, but here we do. But the thing is they're not going to announce the recast for a while, which is annoying. I know everyone wants to hear who the new Kang's going to be, but it's also smart just because it's 2024. Everyone gets offended by absolutely everything. And if they said tomorrow that so-and-so is playing Kang, there's going to be a bunch of people online that are going to have an issue that Marvel recast it so quickly. So I think he's getting announced with the Fantastic Four. I think he's getting. I think we're getting this recast early because they have to. I mean, Kang is technically the center of this universe. Right. Yeah. So, bro, honestly, I think this recast is going to happen early. But by the way, I do think firing Jeff Loveness was the right thing to do. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they were only hired because Kevin Feige loved Rick and Morty. That's the only reason why Loveness and Waldron were hired. That's the only reason why. So, and Waldron has been successful. Waldron's projects have been successful. But yes, listen, I liked Quantumania, but most people didn't. And the fact is, a lot of people look at it as the worst MCU movie. And you can't keep a writer on for the biggest Avengers movies if he delivered what most people consider to be the worst MCU movie. Yeah. Period. And done with.
Yes. And I also think that there's a reason why they took the Shang-Chi director off of it, even though I felt like he was like one of the best people to direct the film. I think the Russos are coming back, man. I'm not going to hold you. I really do, because if there's no reason why you take off the one of the best directors that you have if you're bringing back another powerhouse. So I, I I think there's something really special going on. But for all of the people that complain about Marvel and their creative stuff, they're making changes, and so I can't complain that they're making changes. I am happy that they're trying to fix what is going on, because we weren't happy, and they're making these changes, so I can't really complain. So all right, let's answer some of these chats really quick. I don't want to spend too much time on these because we got a whole docket and it's 9:18. Let me see. Yeah, this is gonna be a long one, but I'm totally in for it because I was on vacation, so I feel good. Let's see. Dead super soldiers, assassins dressed as owls isn't fantastical. It's not as fantastical as I want it to be. I want look, bro. For Brave and the Bold with Damien, I need Lazarus Pit. I need Ra's al Ghul. That's what I need Talia al Ghul. That's the kind of story I want. For Batman?
By the way,
for Brave and the Bold? Not for Brave and the Bold, though.
And by the way, I'm not opposed to Ra's al Ghul. They use him a lot. They also use the Joker a lot, and they don't care.
Yeah, but not the fantastic. But they don't use the fantastical Ra's, though.
That's true. That is true. Well, they did in Gotham.
Yeah, but who cares about that stupid show?
Bro, that is one of the greatest shows of all time, okay?
Mid.
Bro, you're out of your mind.
It's mid.
It's definitely better than Smallville, okay?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. And
all right, go ahead.
Listen, they haven't. Ra's al Ghul hasn't been in a Batman movie since I think 2004. Okay, so that's 20 years ago. They can absolutely use Ra's al Ghul again, and the more I think about it, they kind of have to use Ra's al Ghul for the Brave and the Bold, and I'll tell you why. The very first comic that Damian Wayne was ever in, or at least in chronological order. I'm pretty sure it is his first appearance, though, is Batman and Son. And Damian Wayne is the son of Batman and Talia al Ghul. And similarly to what we were talking about before with May and Mr. Negative, to maximize capitalizing on Damian Wayne, you have to have Talia al Ghul and Ra's al Ghul. And it's for that reason that I think Ra's al Ghul is the right villain for Batman the Brave and the Bold. And I also think he's not just the right villain. I think he's going to be the villain. I think that James Gunn is a smart guy. And, if I see it like this, James Gunn's definitely thought of it.
I agree. If Jonathan Majors never got fired, Jeff Loveness would have never got fired. That's totally not true. Loveness only had one job because Feige. Also, that is totally not true because Loveness was already in the hot seat after Quantum Mania. The issue was never Kang, but when you smoke a movie like that, it's unforgivable. In the eyes of studios.
Yeah,
Loveness and action. We're on the same page. I literally just said that earlier. I love you. Loveness only has a job because Feige is obsessed. Exactly. Jonathan Majors should get a second chance. Not going to comment on that. We're not trying to get into controversial matters, but if he does get back in talks, we will speak about it. A Savage Thor would be a great evolution of the character, and the only place he hasn't been so far. Who would be your ideal villain for that movie?
Great question.
I'm trying to think about that Rune King Thor story.
Yeah. I don't read enough Thor's comics. Like, I don't really know Thor's villains.
I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I would love to see Hercules.
Oh. Yeah, I would love
I
to see
think
Hercules too, but
yeah,
he's not really a villain.
yeah, I would love to see maybe like yeah, but like obviously he heard Zeus and Hercules was pissed.
Oh,
I
I think
would
Mangok would be dope. Actually, I've seen him in some stuff before. He's pretty cool.
yeah, but like from what is looking like, they're probably going to continue that Hercules story and then bring in something like maybe a little more, like
Yeah.
a little more a more powerful being. I mean, they've used so many Thor villains like Surtur. I mean, but we have yet to see. I would love this. Oh my god, Enchantress. I think that would be an amazing villain
Action
for Thor.
packed. Do
Yes.
you read comics? And if you do, have you read Jason Aaron's Thor run?
Yeah, I would, but like Thor has used a lot of their villains, man, with the gore and all of them. I mean, they've used a lot of his characters. The issues that they haven't landed them.
Sucks that
Thor
they
Dark World
wasted
is very underrated though.
Gore and Christian Bale, who Christian Bale is one of the greatest actors of all time.
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
I know I'm right.
I thought you were gonna say he's the greatest Batman. I'm like, dude, still, please don't do it.
He is one of the greatest actors of all time, and he's also the greatest Batman of all time.
Nope, he's not. But okay, all right. Next chat. I wish the next Thor movie is serious. I wish Chris brings back the classic Thor accent he was using in Thor 1 and 2. That accent that Thor was using for Thor 5. Thor needs to be similar to EMH. But what's EMH? Am I like miss something or am I tripping?
Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the animated show.
Oh, the animated show. I actually was just watching that not too long ago. Great show because I was watching. I was trying to get some Beyonder stuff, so I was watching it. Good stuff. Anyways, how likely
they should make Vince McMahon the villain? No, I'm kidding. I don't know if you saw the news today.
Dude, I saw it, bro. He is wild, bro.
He's going to jail. Always been crazy. He's a
scumbag.
Crazy.
He's actually a scumbag. He's going to jail. No way.
Yeah, that's some real messed up shit.
Yeah, for real. Man. And he's old too, which is he's terrible. How likely do you think the Russos will come back to direct Secret Wars? I think it's very likely. Money talks, and I also think they will be directing Brave and the Bold. People think that Andy Muschietti is directing. That is not confirmed. Just saying, that's a rumor. If Majors comes back, everything will go back to the way it was, which was perfect. They were on the right track. No, they were not on the right track, and we wish that Major stayed, but things happen in this life.
It is not confirmed. Variety wrote it, and that's a legit source. June 15th, 2023. New Batman film, Brave and the Bold, lands. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti exclusive.
I'm only taking info from James Gunn because Variety has said stuff and James Gunn has debunked Variety. So at this point, if it doesn't come from the horse's mouth, I don't think it's true. Because Gunn, like Variety said all this stuff about Superman and then he denied it. I don't know. It's like, so I have to hear it from Gunn himself. I have to hear it from the man. But I think Andy will be good for Brave and the Bold. I think he would be great.
I do too. I like him.
Yep. I thought Fantastical meant out of this world. Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Killer Croc, Court of Owls, basically any villain with superpowers enhanced out of this world abilities. Yes. Yes. When
I think of fantasy, I think of in Roswell.
Not Mr. Freeze. Yeah.
Lazarus Pit. Doctor Strange. Not like the Fantastic Four and science. I think magic.
Fantastical is magic, exactly. And with the Lazarus Pit, there's some magic that Mr. Freeze, those type of characters, they're scientific lab rats that got caught up in the wrong thing. Which I think is a good place for Batman, but I want something new in this Prepare to Bold. You think one of the main 4 Robins will be skipped like Son of Batman did? Honestly, I love Tim Drake, but I feel like the DCU will just do Nightwing, Red Hood, and Damian Robin. As Robin being my favorite superhero of all time. I do not. So I do think
Dick
that
Grayson Robin is his favorite.
Yes, Dick Grayson is my
favorite. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Robin. I love all the Robins, but Dick Grayson is my favorite. is my favorite
I
Robin.
didn't
And
know
then
that.
Damian Wayne is slowly taking that spot because I've been reading more
Damian's my
comics, and
favorite.
now I've been reading a lot of comics lately, and I'm just sipping on Damian Wayne. Oh, that sounded pause that pause. Okay, so what
You said it about
so
Spider-Man earlier too.
yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, pause. They going please don't clip me, y'all. But I do think that they are going to skip, but that doesn't mean that these characters aren't still Robin. So I do expect all of these characters in the Bat family to pop up. I just don't think we're going to get like the traditional Dick Grayson Robin story, which I think is a kind of an L. I really wanted to start with Dick Grayson, not Damian Wayne. But at the same time, like where I'm at personally as a fan is I just want to see Robin. So I don't care who it is. But yeah, I don't think they're going to skip it technically. I think we're going to see all of these characters eventually because I think Brave and the Bold is building to a big Bat family film, which is going to be like the Batman Avengers, and I think that's going to be one of the greatest like films of all time.
By the way, I think it would be really cool for Nightwing to get a solo movie. And DC is really trying to sell Nightwing as a hero in his own right. After which I didn't read, so I don't know the exact details of it, but DC had an event a year or 2 years ago. It was called Dark Crisis. And after Dark Crisis, I don't know if they said it, but I'm pretty sure they did, that Nightwing is like the center of the DC universe. And they made like Nightwing the main superhero of all of DC. So that was very recent. So I do believe DC is trying to make a major push of Nightwing, like I said before, standing on his own. And also just the other Robins standing in their own right too. And I think that's why we're seeing more Titans shows, Titans games in the form of Gotham Knights, and what better place to do a Nightwing movie than a DC universe. And it's an easy sell because it's not like they're doing a Nightwing movie and they're not doing a Batman movie. They are going to be doing Batman movies. They could do Nightwing movies too. And the other thing about Nightwing is he's in Bloodhaven. So you could tell a lot of stories there where, again, standing on his own.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on a Nightwing movie just yet.
Oh, I
would like
you would be.
I would like a Robin team up film. I would like a sidekick team up film with like Robin, Nightwing, the whole kids. Like, I kind of want like a Gotham Knights style type of film, not the video game, but you know what I mean, like Batman's going type thing. I think I'll be dope.
The video game, it's interesting because I think people were saying it capped out at like 30 frames per second, but it looks great. I mean, it's a really good looking game, and the story is supposedly just decent. The gameplay it's like not even fun. It's such a bummer, especially because the Court of Owls are in it.
Would have been good if they didn't compare it to Arkham. All right. Now we gotta zoom through these because we have a whole yeah. I was thinking maybe yes, I read comic. Yes, I read comics and I've read Aaron's Thor. Awesome.
I'm thinking about reading that because I've never read a Thor series before, and I know everyone says that's like one of the best ones ever.
Let's do it. Another horrible thing about Wasting Gore is that they also botched the setup for yes, bro. Yes. Yeah. Batman Battle for the Cowl might yes, he's good. Batman Battle for the Cowl might be the Batman Big Justice League Avengers level movie. I agree. That would be fire. Here's how I'd utilize the four Robins. Nightwing TV show with Red Hood appearing as a second main character, Tim Drake as the main Teen Titans Robin, and Damian as the main Robin for the Batman movies. That's actually a great idea, Hungry Almighty.
So,
all right, now Kingpin to be in Spider-Man 4. I want to read this for you guys, and then Comic Cuts is going to tell you guys how he feels about it. Pull that up. Okay, Kingpin is reportedly set to appear in Spider-Man 4, but talks with Vincent D'Onofrio have not happened yet. So this is basically saying, just in other words, and we've heard this before, that the Devil's Reign story is going to be attached. So Kingpin is looking to be in this film. Look, the biggest thing that is most likely going to be going on is Kingpin running to basically be a mayor of New York City, and so that is basically going to give him a lot of power, and with that power He's going to be cracking down on a lot of the heroes' rights and laws, which kind of launches us into this, Devil's Reign story where, we have them, dealing with each other and Spider-Man coming in and a lot of other heroes. How do you feel about Kingpin being Spider-Man 4?
Love it. Love it. Listen, Kingpin is one of the greatest villains in the Marvel universe and period. What's interesting is we don't know if he's going to be the big bad or not. If he is the big bad, that would be pretty cool. But I also would potentially like to see him not be the big bad, but still be a big character, kind of like Penguin in the Batman. Like, you could have him, building up, running for mayor, and have Spider-Man take on another big bad, but be ushering in Devil's Reign by having, Kingpin about to run for mayor or coming into power or something like that. And I would really like to see them fledge out Spider-Man, Daredevil, and a bunch of other characters for a Devil's Reign crossover movie. I think that would be really cool.
That would be dope. I like that. Yeah, I think that Vincent D'Onofrio is the perfect casting for Kingpin, and he's not getting any younger. So use him as much as you can.
I think he's going to do it. Listen, Marvel, guaranteed fame and notoriety. They're going to pay. They haven't made the deal yet. That's all that means.
Yeah, but and Vincent D'Onofrio,
yeah. Why wouldn't he?
And he knows the character. And I also think that, this is going to be a chemistry that's going to be built between Spider-Man and Kingpin that we haven't seen, because we've only seen Kingpin really deal with Echo and Daredevil. So I would love to, see Spider-Man and Kingpin interact with each other. And I think this gives Vincent D'Onofrio another level that he can go to in his acting, because now he's not fighting against someone that is just, humanly strong, but he's fighting against a super powered being. So really exciting. Okay. I'll let you take this because I have my opinions on this. Sean William Scott said he wants to play Booster Gold. Go ahead.
I thought that Chris Pratt was going to be Booster Gold, and I think Chris Pratt, we pretty much know he's going to be in the DCU. It's like guaranteed. James Gunn, I think, said something to that effect already. But I love Sean William Scott. I love the American Pie movies as a kid. And, I think he is listen, Sean William Scott is not a great actor, okay? But he is really good at playing himself. And I think that's what he does in all of his movies. And him playing himself is like the perfect Booster Gold. So it works. If you haven't seen the American Pie movies and you want to watch a good coming of age raunchy comedy that they definitely couldn't make in today's modern world of snowflakes, watch the American Pie movies. And Steve Stifler is Sean William Scott's character. I think he is perfect for Booster Gold. I would love to see it. I know.
I disagree.
I knew.
Yeah,
but you didn't grow up on American Pie, so
still watch them, bro.
I thought
still watch them.
Yeah, you did it.
I did on my vacation.
Oh, which one?
All of them.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't like him?
I do like American Pie. I think he was good, but I don't think he's a good Booster Gold. The dude's 47, bro.
Yeah, but he kind of looks young. And
he's old,
Booster
bro.
Gold is getting a 10-year arc.
By the way, okay. Let's talk about this Booster Gold stuff, dude. Okay.
Oh, I love Sean William Scott.
Booster Gold is such a overrated character. And by the way, Chris Pratt's not going anywhere, bro. Marvel's keeping him close, okay? Let's be real. He's not going nowhere, bro. They need Star-Lord in the MCU. There's no way. There's no way he's leaving. But I will say this. I do not think Booster Gold. I think Booster Gold gets so much unwanted attention. He's such an overrated character. He's one of the worst characters DC has ever created. He's literally a cringe character, and the only reason why people love Booster Gold is because of the Justice League animated shows. Because that was the only time he was actually dope. We saw him in Smallville. He was corny. There was never a time where Booster Gold was that dude. And for some reason, there's stupid fans that like fans that want Mr. Freeze want Booster Gold. He is not an interesting character. He's from the future, but he's a loser. There's nothing interesting about Booster Gold. I never thought Booster Gold was a good character, and there's never been enough content for him to actually see. Like, we've only seen one side of him. He's whack, bro.
But listen, it's a fair assessment, but here's the thing. Before James Gunn, nobody was talking about Peacemaker either. Very few people were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think on paper, who Booster Gold is, I think would make for a good movie in today's comic book movie cinema landscape. Listen, and he might not have a backlog of great content, but I do think on paper he's a good character, and I think James Gunn is the guy that can pull off that kind of movie. I don't think anyone wants 3-movie Booster Gold trilogy, but I think that a Booster Gold movie or series.
No. Booster Gold is literally Zachary Levi, just a hero version. Like, literally, bro. That's who Booster Gold is. He's literally a Zachary Levi. I think that's why I don't like him. And Booster Gold is the type of character that you put with other characters. Look, if they do a Supergirl movie where she's in the future, I would love to see Booster Gold in that as a C to D list character. He's not an A list character. You guys are trying to make him a hero
in the future. That's the whole point of Booster Gold.
He's a hero, but he's not an A-list character, bro. He's not, and fans like you are trying to make him this A-list character that he never is.
No, I'm not. Sean William Scott is not an A-list actor. That's why Sean William Scott's perfect for it. That's why if someone gets his character, that's the whole point.
So why are you trying to give a D-list character their own movie? Because then you're making them an A-list character. If you give them their own film, there's 1,000 other heroes I would rather. Bro, I would rather see a Dr. Fate movie before I will watch a darn Booster Gold movie, personally.
Me too. But if you told me it's Sean William Scott Booster Gold, I'd be really hyped for it because I like Sean William Scott. And here's the thing about Booster Gold. For those of you who don't know who Booster Gold is, which it seems like Stevie here doesn't know who Booster Gold is. And I'm pointing this way, but everything's reflected. So it looks like I'm pointing the other way, but I'm actually pointing at it. So anyway, Stevie here obviously doesn't know Booster Gold. Here's the thing about Booster Gold. Booster Gold is a loser from the future who takes basic technology from the future to the past to appear like a superhero.
Corny.
I think on paper that sounds great.
I've seen the plot. I mean, I've seen it before. I don't think that Booster Gold is a captivating character to me. As I said, there's other cooler characters, bro.
What if we got a Sean William Scott Booster Gold 10-episode show on Max?
I'm not watching it. No, I'll watch it, but it'll be a hard watch.
I think you would enjoy it more than you think. I think Sean William Scott is
the only way it does good is if they do it like if they do it like the way he did Peace. Then whole different story, but I just don't. I'm just not sold on Booster Gold. I just feel like there's other better characters in the DC universe that I would go with before Booster Gold, and that was my problem even with Shazam. Why are we making a Shazam movie for no reason? And that's kind of my problem with a lot of the DC stuff is we take these random characters that they're like D-list characters, and there's better characters that you could use, even with and maybe they're viewing Booster Gold as his Ant-Man, I'm not sure, but I'm not really feeling the Booster Gold vibes personally.
Well, Ant-Man.
I'm open to my mind being changed though.
Ant-Man adds a lot of lore to
Scott Lang's Ant-Man is though. The Hank Pym Ant-Man is the most famous Ant-Man, So and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. I just said, there's just other.
They didn't choose Scott Lang because he was lesser known. The reason they chose Scott Lang and not Hank Pym is because in the comics, Hank Pym was a wife beater, and they didn't want the negative crossover from the comics and kids and all that, which
I would rather. I think that would be. I don't want to be rude, but
I like Scott Lang. I like Scott Lang.
Yeah,
and by the way,
I think Hank Pym is better, but
Irredeemable Ant-Man was a great book.
Yeah, And yeah, I just think that like there's other characters in DC. Like I'd rather see a Martian Manhunter project before I see freaking Booster Gold. All right,
I would like a
now
Manhunter project too.
yeah, that'll be fire. Let's see, hit these chats. How do you guys feel about the execution of Kingpin in the MCU so far? I personally feel like it's been okay, but he's close to being jobbed out too much. I think he needs a big win soon. I mean, he's only been in Hawkeye and the Echo, which Hawkeye I thought he was great in. Echo, I still think he was good in Echo, but Echo's a mid character at best. So I mean, I don't really feel like he's been job. I don't feel like he's been jobbed out. He was the only guy that kept that show alive for me personally. So
I don't think he's had a fair
and
appearance that
yeah,
that's done his character justice yet to say to be like we've had enough.
exactly. And his big win is coming. He's going to be in Spider-Man 4 and freaking Daredevil. I mean, he's going to be the biggest villain out at the moment.
Yeah.
So he might be the next Thanos as in hype. But him being a loser who wants to be famous, but eventually learning to know what it means to be a hero is what makes him cool. That's why the Justice League Unlimited episode worked exactly, bro. An episode, a 30-minute episode. They took one episode to explain the whole story because he's that mid of a character. It took that short to just explain him. So why the heck would you want to make a 2-hour movie about it? I don't want to see that.
Listen, I think that what
I'm sorry, it's actually 20 minutes without commercials. My bad.
What if we were 10 years into the DCU? We've had 2 or 3 successful Justice League movies, and now they say they're going to make a Booster Gold. Would you be okay with it then, or you still be like, no?
I'll be like, no. You can put his story inside of someone else's, and it'll work just fine. Put him in a Green Lantern story. That'll be awesome.
I'm looking forward to the Booster Golds. I like it.
Or put him with Supergirl. All right. That the Booster Gold take is low-key true. I can't think of any Booster stories that are good besides the JLU episode. Before that, he was known as being a part of the trash JLU team that Doomsday wrecked. Thank you. And that's what I'm saying, bro. No one was a Booster Gold fan until that 20-minute episode. And if you can explain his whole entire plot and within 20 minutes, what makes you think he's going to do good in an hour movie? It makes no sense to me. Hank Pym better than Scott Lang. I agree. Hank is wife beater, but Spider-Man and Reed Richards also beat up their wives. The difference is the writers kept going back to it with Hank and other characters.
also,
that's wild, bro. That's wild.
Also, they can't not use Peter Parker and Reed Richards. Like they were able to, and Hank Pym was still in it, but they didn't want to be selling Hank Pym toys the way you get what I'm saying.
Yep. Booster Gold movie, no, but a TV show is fine. I disagree, but I can deal with that. Booster Gold will be the best in a TV show where he teams up with Blue Beetle or in a comedic Justice League. Yes, exactly. That's where
I'd much rather a Booster Gold movie than a Blue Beetle movie. By the way, when you tell me get to that Blue Beetle, someone told me
you're a hater. You're a hater.
Beetle, and I told them that on our podcast we compared Blue Beetle and Spider-Man: Homecoming, and he was like, "There's no comparison."
By the way, bro, Blue Beetle's fire. You're a hater, but yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Booster Gold and Peacemaker. I would love to see that. You think a Green Lantern?
Great team up.
Yeah, I love that. You think a Green Lantern gets a movie in the DCU? You think Kylie Rayner will be the main character, seeing as how Jordan and John are already the main characters in the Lantern show? No, not at all, bro. No. That movie is going to be about Hal and John. There's no way.
There's a reason why Hal and John are the most popular ones, and Kyle isn't. Like, I feel like, listen, there's obviously a lot of lanterns, and that's like the point of it. But I don't know. Hal and John are the two that I enjoy.
One of the greatest characters in comic book history. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
I'm a big Green Lantern guy.
Same here. I'm a big Hal and John guy. All right, next topic, and this topic gets me excited. Okay, so let me read this report to you guys. So let me pull this up, guys. Give me 1 second. So the rumor that's going around big is that Supergirl is going to be in Superman Legacy, but also the castings for Supergirl. There are the finalists for the role of Supergirl in the DCU is Millie Alcock and Meg Donnelly. Okay, so for me personally, I am championing for Millie Alcock. She was Rhaenyra and Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. She is a better actor than Meg. She commands the screen way more than Meg. And by the way, and I think Millie is young, and she's already played a teenager in the freaking in the Game of Thrones show, and I think that just Millie is a character that you're going to age with more gracefully than Meg. I've never really been a fan of Meg Donna Lily's acting. I was watching some clips even on my phone before we even started this show. And I was like, oh, this girl is just cringe as heck. So yeah, I think Millie's just a better actress. Plus, I also want to say this. I
Wait,
love actors
are you
that come. Uh,
you're saying that this girl Melissa Benoist is confirmed, or wasn't she in the
no, I
TV
said
show?
I said Millie Alcock and Meg Donnelly.
Oh, they're in the running, but neither are confirmed.
No, yeah. They are the finalist for the role.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, and for
Who's the
me
other
personally,
one? Sorry.
Millie Alcock and Meg Donnelly. And personally, I love actors that come from theater because I think that actors who act in theater before than the movies have a better range of acting. Because when you're acting in theater, there's no background, there's no CGI, there's no green screen. It's just you in a freaking costume, and you have to sell it with your acting. And Millie Alcock comes from theater. She's played really good roles, and I'm telling you, bro, her role in Game of Thrones was literally phenomenal. She commanded the screen every single time, and to me, that is the kind of actress that we need going for Superman legacy. Plus, with the Superman, with the Supergirl character, Supergirl plays a very shy girl, but at the same time, a very powerful and I will stand up for myself kind of a character. But the thing that makes Supergirl funny is that she always overdoes it. She always goes beyond the level of standing up for herself, and I think that Millie played a similar role like that in Game of Thrones House of the Dragon, and I think she will model that same thing as Supergirl. So I'm totally sold on her.
You know what's interesting is Timothy Dalton, who played James Bond in only 2 movies, he was a Shakespeare guy, and he was what they say is the most accurate James Bond to the Ian Fleming books. And I agree with that. And he's by far the most underrated Bond. I actually think he is the third best Bond, right under Daniel Craig and Sean Connery. And he was a Shakespeare actor. He was phenomenal, the guy. If you haven't watched, definitely watch The Living Daylights. It's easily a top five
Yeah.
Bond movie.
Yeah, the theater actors are a different breed, bro. And that's why I have respect for people like, Chris Evans, where in the heat of his fame, he acted in theater because theater is different than movies where you can do cuts, and where in theater you got to memorize all your lines right there, or you'll look like a freaking idiot. So yeah, like honestly, bro, I was in a art school when I was younger, so I did a lot of plays and stuff, and I had to memorize. And theater is no joke, man. So all right, get some chats. I worked in theater. I think it's way harder than acting in movies. You can learn your lines on the spot in the movie. You got to memorize everything for theater. Agreed.
You
Filming movies is actually. Oh, sorry. I can reread it. I worked in theater, and I think it's way harder than acting in movies. You can learn your lines on the spot in a movie. You got to memorize everything for theater. Yeah, filming movies actually is a drag. It's a lot of stopping and going. I hate that. Would you say Supergirl is the second most iconic DC female hero? Is that why she's getting a movie? I do not think that she's the second most iconic DC female hero, but the reason why I do think that also I am not 100% sure it is confirmed that Supergirl is getting a movie. Comic Cuts, can you check? I don't think that's confirmed though that she's getting a movie. Like I never heard that out of James Gunn's mouth himself.
I thought he did say that.
Did he say they're doing a Supergirl movie?
James Gunn's DCU is reportedly close to finding its Supergirl. IGN.
Yeah, but I be.
Oh, but that doesn't mean he's making a movie. Okay.
Yeah, because the thing that I heard was that she's gonna be a Superman legacy. I heard nothing about a Supergirl movie.
Yeah, it's on the slate. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow film.
Okay. But so, do I think Supergirl is the second most iconic DC female hero or whatever? I think this movie could make her the second most iconic DC female hero because that spot is really up for grabs. I think there's characters like Hawkgirl and people like that I think are very iconic personally, but I think Supergirl is a relatable character. And I think that with Supergirl's power level and the connection to Superman, and I think that's the biggest reason why they're going to do this Supergirl movie, because she connects to one of the main characters in the story and is going to loop all that and all that stuff. So,
but I think the top two are of DC are no question Wonder Woman and then Catwoman
or Harley Quinn.
Well, Harley Quinn's not a hero.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I was thinking DC characters. My bad. But right. Catwoman not a hero either, bro. She's an anti-hero.
You're probably right. I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
Hold on, I'm about to search this up. DC female.
But I would still say the most iconic DC females.
Bro, it is definitely Supergirl, bro. No, it is definitely Supergirl. Think about this.
It's Wonder
Barbara
Woman
Gordon. No. Barbara Gordon, Black Canary, Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Big Barda, Supergirl, Starfire, Hawkgirl, Mira, Raven, Batwoman, Power Girl, who was Supergirl, Harley Quinn, Talia. Like, bro, there are not a lot of female heroes.
But people who don't
no one's going to say
or really watch the movies will know who Catwoman is, and they'll know who Wonder Woman is. And most of that list they'll never heard.
But we're not talking about popularity for DC characters, bro. We're talking about the most iconic female superheroes. Catwoman is Selena Kyle's not a hero, bro. But what are you talking about? She's a thief. What are we talking about here? Yeah, Supergirl is probably the most second iconic hero by default. Because Black Canary isn't that great. She was good in the Arrowverse, but we haven't seen her in movies killing it.
Right.
But I guess we'll have to see. But my second favorite superhero, I'm more of a Raven guy. I think Raven is probably my favorite second superhero under Wonder Woman, but we can talk about that another day. Or Hawkgirl. I think Hawkgirl's iconic. I think Supergirl should be in her own first, and Superman, then in Superman Legacy, then again Superman Legacy could set her up for her own film. I agree. And also having Corn Sweat, cameo out that film. Also, having Batman, because Batman is one of the people that found Supergirl first. I think that'd be super awesome. Catwoman or Harley would be probably the second most. But they're not heroes. They're not heroes. They are characters. And Harley Quinn is probably the most popular DC character right now. Female wise. Yep. So then who's right behind Wonder Woman it's Supergirl. It's Supergirl for talking about heroes. What does that say about DC when their second and third most iconic female heroes started as villains and they're both tied to Batman? It means that Batman is the greatest DC character of all time, which might change after Superman. Not gonna lie, and a lot of people don't want to hear that, but Legacy might surpass it. Okay, now. Next is J.J. Abrams' Superman. So James Gunn says that J.J. Abrams' Superman movie is still in development. The film will be outside of the main DCU in the Elseworlds. So just to give you guys a quick grazer, right? The Elseworlds is basically this non-canon place where James Gunn is going to host all of his DC films. What he's most likely going to do is draw into these Elseworld films and characters during their Crisis on Infinite Earths and their multiversal stuff like that. Now, one of the rumors is that J.J. Abrams is going to be going with Val Zod, who is the Black Superman. He's actually the president of the United States, but he's also Superman. Now, I want to talk about this. I am actually a fan of Val Zod. There hasn't been a lot of Val Zod, like comics and stuff like that, but I do think Val Zod is a really good character, and we have yet to see him in the animated yet. So I would love to get a Val Zod story. Now, Michael B. Jordan has been talked about, and in regards to being the Val Zod. Before Jonathan Majors took the King role, I wanted him to play Val Zod because I think he fits like the comic book role perfectly, but that's not going to happen. So if it's Michael B. Jordan, I wouldn't be mad, but having Michael B. Jordan play Val Zod is like Pedro Pascal playing what's it called?
Reed Richards.
Mr. Fantastic. As much as I think Pedro Pascal is going to is going to be good in the role, it is a safe choice. And I think that there might be other qualified actors than Michael B. Jordan that could play that role. But how do you feel about doing a Val Zod film?
Love it, can't wait. I really do hope it falls out because, listen, it's funny because you just said that you think Superman Legacy is going to make Superman more popular than Batman. And my first thought when you said that was, I 100% disagree. I don't think you could be more off the mark on that one. And the reason being is there is so much good Batman material out there.
You are right.
And that's why he is so popular and so iconic. And if Superman were to ever give Batman a run for his money, in that sense, you need a lot more than one movie. And what better way to do that than a different Superman in an Elseworlds movie? And Val Zod is a great character. The fact that he's, if they do it when Val Zod's the president, and like that's a really cool story, and I think it would also sell well in today's socio-political landscape. We're in a very hyper political time. More people than ever pay attention to United States national politics. So I think that because of that, people would be really interested to see Black Superman, who is also the president of the United States. I think that would sell really well. I don't think they're going to go with Michael B. Jordan. Listen, it's funny. I just looked up Val Zod. First picture that comes up is Michael B. Jordan photoshopped as Val Zod. Listen, I think he would be great, but he's like an A-list or right under A-list actor at this point, and I just don't see them shelling out that kind of money for an Elseworlds Superman actor while they're also doing the DCU. So
hold on. Can I just hold on? I have to interrupt you real fast. Just on that, here he has a multi-film deal signed with WB, and this will be a part of that deal. Sorry, just had to interrupt.
That would be fire. And by the way, I think Michael B. Jordan is a much better fit for Val Zod than Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards. I'd much rather see Michael B. Jordan as Val Zod as Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. So if that's the case, go for it.
Yeah, wouldn't mind if Damson Idris buffed up though.
Yeah. Listen, I'm dying for him to take a major comic book movie role.
Do you know who else would have been a good Val Zod? Like a young, who's that actor?
John
he played
Majors?
he played he was in Thor. He played Idris Elba. A young Idris Elba would have been the perfect Val Zod, bro.
Yep.
Man, I still think he was wasted, bro. He should not have been what was his name in Thor? I forget.
Heimdall.
He was wasted as Heimdall. He should have been a much more popular character. But yeah, I am all in for a Val Zod, and also just want to say this: like when it comes to mixed racial characters, I like, and this is one of the reasons why I like Falcon, not Falcon as Captain America. I like when you create like characters that are like themselves, and so I love the idea of Val Zod being Superman, not like he's like Clark Kent, So I like that, it gives me Miles Morales vibes, you know what I mean? So, and I think that that can be, pretty cool. And also to me, I feel like there's not enough dope black characters that get the shine. So we got Shuri. I would rather get Val Zod than Shuri personally, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's really, really dope characters that you can dig from. And
Shuri
to be
was
honest,
straight robbery.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And Shuri was good as the side character, but Herbie Maker was bad. And I also think that this could probably give the Black Panther hype, where this could put DC on another level of fandom, kind of like what Black Panther did because Black Panther put Marvel on another level of fandom, and obviously it got to their heads in the end. But with someone like James Gunn, I think he can level that out, in a really good way. So yeah, we are
Yeah.
also on Valzad. All right, let's answer some chats here. Abrams pulled off the heist of the century with WB. They paid him $500 million to do nothing except develop a Superman comic for Marvel.
The Spider-Man comic for Marvel.
Gosh, am I like dyslexic? Sorry. A Spider-Man comic. Gosh, that was bad. A Spider-Man comic for Marvel. What's next? I read that Black Superman movie is going to be a black version of Clark Kent during the civil rights era. I'm black and I'm tired of the black struggle movies. I want Val-Zod, Calvin Ellis, or the Icon. Yeah. I personally want to see Val-Zod as the president of the United States. I think that era of Val-Zod is dope. I don't want to see a black struggle film. Personally, me being a black guy, I'm just sick of the victimization. You know, I'm just so sick of that. I think we're in a different time now, and there's a lot of African Americans that are wealthy. You know, I come from a family that's very fortunate as well, so I don't, I'm so sick of the same old stories when it comes to African American characters. That's why I love Falcon, because Falcon wasn't like that. So yeah, I totally agree. Action packed. Is the MCU reboot going to be different than the DCU reboot? Oh heck yeah, it's gonna be different than the reboot. The MCU reboot is more going to be like, all the characters, we're just restarting it with some new ones and some old ones. DCU is a whole new start. We're in a whole different world with all new characters. They're not bringing back anyone except Viola Davis and the Peace Maker crew. That's just all that's coming. The Rock is going, Cavill's going, everyone's going. So Black Cat versus Catwoman. Who do you think wins that match, Cuts?
I'm going Catwoman. I think she's a better fighter.
I'm going Catwoman too. Plus, because I'm a Zoe Kravitz guy.
Yeah.
All right. So
it in that role.
Oh my gosh, bro. Yo, she's married to the one dude, Channing. What's his name?
Channing Tatum.
They're married, dude. I didn't even know.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
He fell off.
But anyways, yeah, he did. Apparently he's Gambit in Deadpool, so we'll see. But all right, so let's talk about the Century News, because I'm about to snap about this, bro. Okay, so as of today, Lois Pullman reportedly has the current offer to play Sentry and Thunderbolts. But then after I posted it, I heard another name. Wait, is it him? Sorry, I'm wrong. Sorry. Yeah, Lewis Pullman has the current offer to play Sentry in the Thunderbolts. There's been a lot of Century News going on. Another guy turned it down a week ago. Steven Yeun. Wait, his last name is Yeun, right?
Yeah, I think it's Yeun.
Yeah, Steven Yeun was supposed to be the Sentry, but he turned it down. Okay, let's talk about this Sentry, dude. Okay, why is casting Sentry such a big deal in the Thunderbolts movie? Comic Cuts, do you know why this is such a big deal?
It's funny because I was thinking I should reread this because I forgot what happened in that series. But I'm pretty sure the new Avengers is where the Thunderbolts came into play. And Sentry was a big part of that story. But that's like the only story that is notable that Sentry is part of. And Sentry, this is one of the biggest things that made me realize a lot of people online who pretend that they know what they're talking about literally have no clue what they're talking about, because everyone's acting like Sentry is such a popular character and his casting is such a big deal. Sentry was never popular, ever. He does have a drug addiction, and that does add some depth to his story. I don't know if Marvel's going to go there. Just because as much as they're looking to sell to us adults, they're looking to sell this stuff to kids. And Sentry is not as significant of a character where, they could get away with being a little less accurate on something like that. But yeah, I don't understand where the hype comes in. I don't remember why he was so notable in this story. And literally, I just think that the guy looks like a long blonde hair Superman, and because of his suit, and people are like, "Oh, he looks like a he's a big deal, and he got hyped up on Twitter, and now the Sentry casting is a popular topic.
So, bro, the only reason why I think people are pulling out is maybe because, then this is my theory. I think Sentry dies. He's a one-off villain in the Thunderbolts, and I think a lot of these actors want long-standing roles with Marvel, so they're leaving.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said I think a lot of people are dropping out of Sentry, bro, because they want a long-standing role in Marvel, and I think that Sentry in the Thunderbolts is a one-off character that probably dies. That's the only reason. That's the only logic in my mind that I could think that someone would like drop out.
Right, that's a good point. And I wonder if those kinds of roles are not seen as valuable as they were, say, 10 years ago, because 10 years ago was like when Guardians of the Galaxy first came out, and now not every Marvel movie is a hit. Not every Marvel movie is crushing the box office, and with that, you're not guaranteed the success and notoriety that comes with a role in a Marvel movie 10 years ago. But if they were considering Stephen Yeun for Sentry, like, that is crazy. Like I said before, if Stephen Yeun is Sentry, I'm Captain America.
Yeah, that was an L casting, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. Really L casting. Like, goodness gracious. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Alexander Skarsgård is Sentry. Yo, I want Alexander Skarsgård as the Joker.
I love that casting.
They were so yeah, and Pennywise too. I think he's perfect to play the Joker. They were so close to start filming Thunderbolts until Stephen Yeun left. I think he says really nobody wants to play Sentry. I agree, bro, and it has to be because he's a one-off character. There's no other reason why I think that, because a lot of people want the Marvel payday, but they want the consistent work. And if you accept, and the way that hero movies work is if you accept the role, you're done for. All right, action packed people. Exactly. People who like Sentry only like him because he's powerful. They probably haven't read any books with him because he's never been interesting outside of his introduction. I have to read some Sentry comics.
Yo, action packed. Follow me on Instagram so we could DM.
Yep. Can you tell them your name?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it in the chat.
Perfect. Wait. Let me read this. Yep. Thank you, Cuts. Wait, why is Sentry the villain in the Thunderbolts? Isn't he a superhero? Comic Cuts. You can take it if you want.
So, like I said, I don't really remember this storyline so well, but Sentry posed a threat at some point. I think eventually he comes home, so to speak, to the new Avengers, and is a good guy. But I think in the beginning he posed a threat.
Yeah. So Sentry is a hero. He does become a hero, but there also is a point where Sentry is on the other side, and there comes a point where he needs to be taken out. So, but we can say all this, right? But the reality is we don't know how Marvel's going to pay him. The way that I see it, maybe Sentry's going to be a lab rat or something. I don't really know how they're going to paint Sentry. I really think they're going to make a lot of changes to Sentry in the MCU. I don't think this Sentry is going to be as faithful to the comic books as we think it is. You guys should read the first Thunderbolts run. They started after the Onslaught event when the Avengers died, and they were pretending to be heroes. Let me type that down. We're definitely
real quick. So I realized in the comments from Hungry Almighty, listen, both the Skarsgårds are great, but I think Bill Skarsgård, the guy who played the villain in John Wick 4, would make a great Joker. You guys should read the first Thunderbolts run. They started after the Onslaught event when the Avengers died. I probably should. The Thunderbolts are dope. And this movie, done correctly, should be awesome.
Oh, I got the wrong Skarsgård. I was thinking of Bill Skarsgård.
That's what I was thinking of too. Yeah.
Jesus, I didn't know there were two of them.
Yeah, I just heard Skarsgård, and I was like,
yeah, I think, yeah. Bill
John
is
Wick
it should
4
be
was
Joker.
insane, and
He should be the Joker.
crushed it as the villain. Yeah, but for him to be the Joker, that would be the DCU because they already have a Joker for the Batman, and Barry Keoghan
anyone for the DCU.
Fire.
Exactly. Having villains pretend to be heroes because there's no Avengers team will fit perfectly in the MCU right now. Instead, we are getting a PG Suicide Squad ripoff. Hey, we haven't seen the trailer yet, bro. Okay, let's give it a chance. Nah, man, he doesn't look like. Yeah, you're right. Alexander Skarsgård does not. We were talking about Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Sentry works better with a team like in the new Avengers comic. Yep. I don't have an Instagram account, but I'm making one just to chat with you.
That's cool.
The role that I think Sentry plays is this, okay? This is my theory. I think that the Thunderbolts go rogue, right? I think they go rogue on Thunderbolt Ross, and I think Thunderbolt Ross gets Sentry to fight for him. So Sentry probably thinks he's fighting for the country, you know, being the hero, but in reality, whatever the Thunderbolts are going after to try to save the world, Sentry's going to be like the stumbling block to them getting to wherever they are trying to do.
Right.
Whether it's the adamantium or the stuff with Timo Island, I'm not sure, but that's kind of what I think Sentry will play in the Thunderbolts movie. Which, I think Thunderbolt Ross is a home run. Okay, so we are not going to react to tweets this week only because we have so many of these red tweets that I need to clip them up. Not going to lie, so we're going to put that on pause. We have so many reacting to tweets clips that I have to sift through because the cooking of Jay Olivia was so meticulous of you, but it's taking me days to edit because there's so many different tweets and I'm trying to put it all together. Well, I'm making a separate video for it and then I want to tag him on it, which should be fun. But I'm crafting it to make it like more. It's
I tweeted and responded to him. I followed up and gave him a chance to respond, and he didn't. So I have no doubt he'll see the video though.
Yep, exactly. So, but it's honestly very respectful. So, like, I don't even think he would get mad. It's a very you address him in a very respectful way, which is how we should do it in fandom, man. So, I think that's also even though he came at you kind of crazy, but we're not
and that's the thing too. Like a lot of people online don't know how to disagree with someone and not seem like they hate them. It's unbelievable, and if we can't have healthy discourse as a fandom talking about movies, I mean, you got issues.
Yeah, and that's why and that's one of the reasons why Comic Cuts and I work so well together. We disagree on not a lot of things, but a very few things, like the Dark Knight. I hate the Dark Knight, and he knows that, and we debate that, but that doesn't take away from how I feel about him or any of that jazz.
Yeah.
So let's read these last two comments. Action Pack. I don't have an Instagram account, but I'm making one to chat with you. Perfect.
Appreciate you, Action Pack.
Yep. The cool part about Sentry is his alter egos. Bob Reynolds is a shut-in who's afraid of human interaction, and the Void commits in as much evil as the Sentry does good. Sentry by himself is lame. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Action Pack. Thank you. Shout out to our usuals, Hungry Almighty, Dragon Trainer, and our new usual Action Pack. Thank you for jumping on, guys. We're gonna end it here. Look, we have clips going out every day, shorts going out every day. Subscribe to our other channels, Fancy Cuts, Action Cuts. We love you guys. Also on TikTok, all those other socials. It's Superhero Cuts everywhere and Comic Cuts everywhere. Give us a follow. We love you guys. Have a wonderful day. And peace out.